12 subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. An introvert may not openly declare his or her love to you, but he or she will use special ways to express romantic endearment. Find out today 12 subtle signs a shy, reticent person has a crush on you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. Today we have a wonderful topic that I personally feel comfortable talking about because I'm a little bit some kind of introvert too. I hope you are doing fantastic and marvelous as I am. And if you are, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or let's roll. I want to quickly give a shout out to Liana Campbell in Berenice, Idaho, and Brice LeBlanc in Atlanta, Idaho, and Beckley Robinson in Northern Idaho, and our millions of viewers in the United States and Canada and worldwide. Now, 12 subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. Number 1, he or she invites you into his or her physical space. Now, an introvert by nature wouldn't really do things openly, right? But if if they start inviting you to their physical space, I'm talking about their house, if they give you a date or some kind of date at a recreational park, they invite you to come at a library to have a conversational library, they invite you to travel with them. This is very important because they're trying to tell you, hey, listen, I find you interesting and I want to have a relationship with you. I want to get to know you more. One thing you have to understand is that introverts generally don't like to be touched, right? Because they kind of establish some kind of an invisible fortress around them. So if you are able to penetrate that fortress, they might get very uncomfortable. But if they come to you, if they allow you in, that means you are the exception to the rule, and you must take it very, very seriously as a sign of romantic endearment. Number 2, he or she shares his or her thoughts with you. If you have an introvert telling you stuff that is very deep and very private, then you know they are very interested in you. Why? Because they have a very introverts, shy people generally have a very rich inner world, right? They might not talk openly, they might not talk a lot, but mentally and inside their bodies and inside their minds arises a very rich world, a very diverse world, right? So the thing is that if they like you, if they find you very interesting, they'll start telling you about things like their dreams, the dreams they have, their ambition. They might tell you about their nightmares. They might tell you about their fantasies, their struggles. They basically share their thoughts with you, whatever, their plans, whatever they're thinking about. So that's very important. That's just telling you, hey, listen, I think you're kind of cute, or you're kind of, you're kind of cool, and I want to do something more with you. So whenever an introvert shares his or her thoughts with you, you know that they are interested. They might be interested. Now, of course, I'm not saying here that anytime an introvert shares their thoughts with you, it means automatically they are romantically interested, right? No, but you got to look at a constellation of things, a combination of things that will say, yes, she's interested. She has a crush on me, or he has a crush on me. All right. So number 2, he or she shares his or her thoughts with you. Number 3, he or she offers you insights. Now, giving advice, it's very valuable to introverts because, again, usually they don't like to talk. They're not interested in talking. They keep a lot of stuff to themselves. So if they're willing to give you advice, to give you insights, to give you some kind of a guidance on something, you might as well know that they take you very seriously. Because here are people, reticent, shy people are very adept at developing powers of observation, right? They are mindful. They see the world with keen eyes. They understand the minutiae that others often miss, right? So this is a gift that a lot of introverts have that extroverts usually don't have. So if somebody is shy, if somebody is a shy person is offering advice to you, you better take it very seriously, because it means that you have a special place in their hearts, which is why they are volunteering. They are venturing out of their comfort space, comfort zone, if you will, and they are venturing some advice to you. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still having a conversation about the 12 subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. If you just joined us, consider subscribing to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so you are made aware whenever we drop a new show. Share this content, like it, comment below, and give us your feedback. Really appreciate that. Now, I want to quickly acknowledge some of our viewers in the beautiful state of Illinois, particularly Maya Hussein in Pomona, Illinois, Noah Summers in Liverpool, Illinois, and Aiden Poole in the beautiful state of Illinois. Of course, the city is Oakdale. Now, number 4. If an introvert really shows an honest concern for you, if they're really worried about you, if they are checking on you, then they might have a crush on you. Why? Because shy people usually tend to keep things to themselves, right? They're not very expansive in their conversation. They don't talk too much. They keep a lot of stuff to themselves. So if they are showing a genuine concern for you, there is a chance that they might be interested in you. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5, if an introvert is around quite often, if they're spending time with you, if they are seeing you, like as I said earlier, at the library, in the park, at home, at parties, then they have an interest in you. The thing here is that they're not going to tell you openly. They'll never tell you openly, right? But the signs they express are really subtle. And unless you pay attention, unless you start looking around and paying attention and seeing the amount of time, how many days, how many hours, how many minutes they spend around you, unless you do that, unless you have a keen ability to observe, you would miss it. But if they do, if they spend that much time around you, just know that they have a liking for you, and you should take it very seriously. And because there has to be a reason why they're there, right? If they were not interested, they wouldn't be there. So the fact that they're there often means they are interested. Number 6, if a shy person opens up to you about intimate facets of his or her life, chances are he or she is interested in you romantically. The thing here is that because, as we all know, introverts generally don't want to open up about their lives, right? So they're not going to tell you stuff about, their intimacy or private, the private lives. They'll never tell you those things. But if they do, then you know that they're gradually trying to tear their walls down so that you can enter, so that you can penetrate the fortress here. All right. So, if an introvert opens up to you about something, about their private lives, or about their private struggles or joys or aspirations, you want to be a good listener. You want to understand where they're coming from. You really want to consider the time and place they are bringing up the matter. This is very important. If they bring up private matters, in the park or the library, it might not be as important. But if they bring it up in a private place, in a private space, let's say a home or at a restaurant, then they're really, really into you. So try to be there, try to be mindful, try to be in the moment, and have an honest conversation, right? And one thing that's very important is that introverts are not generally looking for somebody to judge them or to give them advice. They just want you to listen. Be there and listen. All right. So try to refrain from blame. Try to refrain from advising or giving your feedback or giving your opinion unless you're asked. Right. So this is number 6. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still continuing our conversation today about the 12 subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. I want to acknowledge, as I've been doing throughout the show, And throughout all our shows, by the way, I want to acknowledge some of our viewers and listeners. I have Tyler Knights in Dundee, Iowa, Brooke Dawson in Arbor Hill, Iowa, and Zara Andrews in Le Mars, Iowa. Thank you very much for your feedback. Thank you very much for following us. We really appreciate it. Zara Andrews, Brooke Dawson, Tyler Knights in Iowa. Thank you very much. Now, number 7. If an introvert is ready to help you. Now, introverts usually are very open to helping people, right? But if you have an introvert person who is very, very helpful, like he or she is going beyond and above and beyond the normal scope of things to help you, then you know they might have some kind of attachment to you, right? If they make a point to maintain constant communication with you, if they are usually the ones taking the initiative to do so. In other words, they're constantly trying to check on you, they're ready to help you, and they're the one taking the initiative, then they must be very into you. Another thing that's very important also is that if you have an introvert that checks up on you at very random moments of the day, very early in the morning or late at night, just kind of ask you, how your day was, if you need help, that kind of stuff, then they are definitely attracted to you. Number 8, if an introvert tells you, call me, right? Because instead of calling you directly, they want you to do the calling. They want you to pick up the phone and dial the number, right? So that he or she takes you very seriously. Why? Because generally, shy people don't like to talk on the phone, right? Which is why they're shy. They don't want to talk in general. They see a phone call as an intrusion into their privacy. But if they say, call me, that means that they really want to talk to you and they are open to having a conversation, that they're open to interacting with you. So you should take that seriously. Now, another thing that is very important here is that the fact that they are into having that kind of conversation with you in the first place means that you must be important. Why? Because a phone call for an introvert, it's usually an exercise in energy depletion. Like they think about it as something that's going to drain their energy. So, a phone call will drain their energy. So if they're willing to take that risk, if they're willing to suffer that quote unquote energy drain, that means you must be very special. All right. Number 9. Here is another subtle sign that an introvert has a crush on you. He or she finds random and seemingly strange reasons to talk to you. When we were in high school or in primary school, and kids want to have conversations and they don't know how to start, and you have to find sort of weird ways to have a conversation. This happens also with adults. So if you have an introvert around you and he or she, because again, we all know they're not the best talkers in the world, right? Because they lack practice talking. So they might actually engage in sometimes very random, very sweet but strange ways to have a conversation, right? They can start up with the weather or sports. They can come out with the compliments. They can ask a favor. They can open with a joke. They can ask a question that is peripherally related to the intended topic. They come up with all kinds of ways just to engage, just to start a conversation. Accept it. And I think you should just find it. You should just take it for what it is. It's just a cute thing, right? It's just cute. It just shows that they are interested in you and they're finding a way that is not as awkward as possible. Even if it were awkward, who cares anyway, right? The idea here is to have a conversation. That's all. Just to have a conversation, right? So if he or she finds random and seemingly strange reasons to talk to you, that means that he or she is into you somehow. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are wrapping up today's show with the 3 more subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. I want to quickly give a shout out to our listeners and viewers and fans in Nevada, beautiful state of Nevada. We have Catherine Jones in Shorts, Nevada, Charlie Saunders in Brown Mountain, Nevada, and Joshua Willis in Fernley, Nevada. Number 10. If an introvert quiets down whenever you are in a group setting, then you know that there is a probability that he or she has a crush on you. Why? Because introverts usually don't perform really well in large group settings, right? Again, they lack practice. They're not interested. They think of it as an energy drain. So they would rather just conserve energy. So if they hang out with you in large groups and you don't really see them around, that's because they don't want to draw any attention to themselves, right? The thing here is that they are just kind of scared about saying anything foolish, or they are scared about they might do something awkward. So they just tend to distance themselves. But it doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means that they are giving you space so you can occupy the stage, but they literally got your back, right? So this is, don't take it very seriously. Take it more as a compliment, as a positive sign that they might have a crush on you. Number 11, he or she connects with you on social media. So if an introvert connects with you on social media, this could be a sign that they have a crush on you. Now, the thing here is, it's not just a regular connecting, I just want to be your friend, sending you a friend request on Facebook or other social platforms. It's the conversation. It's the regularity of the conversation, right? It's the liking of your pictures. It's the commenting on your post. It's the frequency of the interactions. That's how you realize that they are into you. Why? Because usually they don't talk, right? But even typing comments or liking, this could be an energy drain. But they would do it if they are interested in you. So if they are doing a lot, then this is something that there is some form of romantic attachment to you, right? And it's well known. Research has shown that introverts like to text more than talk, right? Writing comes naturally to them. So writing on social media is more natural to them than talking on the phone, right? So, but the thing here is that it's the frequency, it's the regularity that tells you, oh, here we have somebody who is interested. Of course, the whole thing shouldn't become some kind of stalking here, right? There has to be some balance, but just remember that overall they are interested in you. Number 12. He or she acts hot and cold with you. If you have an introvert who regularly has a change in temper, a mood swing, again within reasonable parameters, you know that this person might be into you because they don't know how to be around you, right? They don't want to come off as too strong, and they don't want to come off also as indifferent or disinterested. So what they will do is they sort of have this sort of weird mood swing by acting hot and cold with you. Now this inconsistency shouldn't really deter you from pursuing the conversation or the relationship. It's just that they're trying to find the best way to interact with you, right? So the hot and cold thing that you have at the beginning is just a way to try to find you, trying to corner you psychologically or mentally, trying to understand how to handle you, if you will, right? So don't take it bad. Rather, you should take it positively. Okay? I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're here to wrap up today's conversation. I want to give the last shout out of today's program to we have Sarah Walsh in Montello, in the beautiful state again of Nevada, and Lee Johnston in Garnerville, still Nevada, and Reese White, Walker Lake, Nevada. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So today we talked about, I just gave you the 12 subtle signs an introvert has a crush on you. Let me quickly recap those signs here. He or she invites you into his or her physical space. He or she shares his or her thoughts with you. He or she offers you insights. He or she really shows an interest, an honest concern for you. He or she is around quite often. He or she opens up to you about intimate facets of his or her life. He or she is ready to help you. He or she tells you, call me. He or she finds random and seemingly strange reasons to talk to you. He or she quiets down whenever you are in a group setting. He or she connects with you on social media. He or she acts hot and cold around you. So those are the 12 signs that an introvert has a crush on you. Now here is today's pro tip. I want you to rescue, the next time you have an introvert around you, rescue them from small talk and give them the freedom to take time to themselves, right? So that means, for instance, if you're going out, trying to take a lead role at social events and build alone time in your weekly routine so that you can give your introvert partner space, right? Encourage your partner to voice his or her need for alone time and talk about deep things with you. Okay? Thank you so much for your attention today, and remember, stay marvelous.